So now we come to our second keynote, and I'm very delighted to welcome Dr. Aliya Assubayeva as keynote speaker. She is assistant professor at the Graduate School of Public Policy at Nazarbayev University with a strong interdisciplinary background in water management, environmental governance, and sustainable development. Dr. Assubayeva spent part of her academic journey at Justus Liebig University Gießen, working at the Center for International Development and Environmental Research, where we met. Her teaching and research experience spans Europe, Central Asia, Latin America, and East Africa, and has received several prestigious awards. In her keynote, Dr. Asubayeva will now draw on experiences from Germany, Uganda, and Kazakhstan to explore the power of interdisciplinary teaching, digital learning, and global partnerships in water education.
So from my side, thanks a lot for invitation and also for organizers bringing us all together. Even I know that yesterday you had in-person session, and today we have this today interactive session with this gatherers town. This was my first time to use it. I thought that I'm in the teenager time when I played all these games at Nazarbayev University, but GLU is particularly close to me since I spent 2.5 years there during my postdoctoral research. And today it's a great privilege for me to speak on the topic, which is on one hand is personal, but at the same time is profoundly global, is how to reach borders in water education and how to build international teaching partnerships. So this is the quick outline of my talk. I would like to start with my learning journey and also to give you some examples on collaborative research, teaching mobility, digital classrooms, and how I try to adapt my teaching in the development or in the age of AI. And in the final slides, I just want to share with my thoughts or reflections on building teaching partnerships. I want to acknowledge that my learning journey was, I was lucky that I had international education across different countries and continents. However, in the beginning, when I started my bachelor in water resources management at Kazakh National Agrarian Research University, especially at the second year, I had thoughts that I don't want to continue in this direction. However, exchange semesters at Wageningen University in the Netherlands and also at the Alexander Studentskis University in Lithuania changed my mind since I saw different teaching styles. I met with different professors, but I also, these exchange semesters helped me to open my eyes about different opportunities that exist in the field of water and environment. And later, I did my master in agricultural economics at the Humboldt University of Berlin, and then PhD in public policy at Nazarbayev University in Kazakhstan. So here I would like to acknowledge the role of supervisor. I was lucky to have very supportive supervisor in my PhD journey, where I also had the opportunity to have research trips at IHE Delta Water Education Institute in the Netherlands, at the University of Oulu in Finland, and all these experiences helped me to even improve more on my research and teaching skills. So this is more about my learning journey, and from this, as you can see, it's not purely water, but it's also about management, agricultural economics, political science. So this interdisciplinary, but at the same time, cross-cultural learning. I learned a lot from this journey. So first of all, it's about the differences in education quality. So that there are some differences, and especially what I can see is about teaching philosophy, teaching styles, teaching environment that different professors create in different countries. I also want to highlight here the role of exchange semesters when you meet students, international students with different backgrounds, from different countries, but when all of you are interested in similar topics. This was very inspiring, and also I would like to highlight the role of the field trip that we had in all these exchange semesters, where you can learn from firsthand about water sampling, about local challenges that really help you to understand the local complexities of water resources management. So this is what I learned that, or what I also bring to my research and teaching, its interdisciplinarity, contextual aspect, but also different ways of knowing. And then now I would like to share with you some examples. This is actually before examples from learning to research. During my PhD, but also during my postdoc, in addition to desktop research, I focused a lot on field-based research via primary data collection, such as interviews, surveys, water sampling. Initially, I started with the field work in Central Asia, but then I expanded it in Latin American, in East African case. And all these field-based experiences helped me also, since I already knew about different theoretical frameworks, but field-based research helped you a lot to understand these local context-specific water challenges. And when you think about solutions or potential recommendations, they could be more practical or more applicable, and to avoid this one-size-fits-all approach. But at the same time, in my path from learning to research, I also emphasized a lot, not emphasized, but I paid attention for science communication. By science communication, I mean it's about attending different workshops, summer schools, seminars, conferences, but not only to present, but also to learn from others and also to build academic network. Since at these workshops or at these conferences, you can meet people with a similar research interest. For example, in my case, it could be water policy, water governance, or in general water challenges. And now I would like to give you a few examples. First is from research collaborations in Ecuador. So this was in the frame of my early career research grant, where we already had partners in Colombia and Ecuador, and this research was to make to co-create or co-develop or co-design research design with our partners. So the case study was Miramataha catchment shared between Colombia and Ecuador, and this was mixed research design. And however, the key component was field research on water security in rural indigenous communities. From the beginning, before I even started contacting our local partners, I knew that conducting this research will require more than just robust or strong methodology, but it will require also humility, respect, and time, especially for trust building with local collaborators and partners. For this, I remember I also learned even Spanish, at least in the like A1, A2 level, so that at least I can communicate during my interviews, but I can also understand more. So this is also about respect and cultural curiosity. And during these research collaborations, we co-designed research methods and data collection, and including data analysis too. And after that, we even submitted a joint publication, which is under review. So from this, this was more about research collaborations. From this experience, for me, the key lesson was that collaboration begins with listening, and long-term partnerships is built on mutual trust and respect. Another example is about teaching mobility. This was teaching mobility in Uganda, thanks to Erasmus Plus exchange program between Justus Liebig University Gießen and Kampala University in Uganda, where I delivered seminars and lectures on water governance and transboundary cooperation. Of course, I gave them some theoretical frameworks, but I really wanted to make it relevant and useful for my students. So what I did is I adapted my slides, my materials to locally relevant case studies. For me, these case studies were also very interesting, such as like the Nile River Basin, the Lake Victoria case, that is also very close to my students, but also interesting for me. So I also paid attention to create a platform, not only for one-way learning, but platform for dialogue and mutual learning, where I can learn from my students, and platform for exchange or sharing about opportunities. For example, about opportunities in the water sector or academic exchange opportunities in Germany. And I'm so happy that right now one of my students, she is in at the GLU as part of also exchange program. So this experience with mobility is I learned that it's not only about the movement of people, right? But it's also about the exchange of knowledge, perspectives, and sharing about opportunities. And with during the COVID time and also post-COVID time, all these digital platforms, I would say, they also helped us to collaborate or to communicate or to strengthen these digital collaborations. For example, at the GLU, when I was a postdoc time there, we co-developed the online course for master students. This was a course for online master program. There were all seminars were online. Or another example was online guest lectures at German Kazakh University, or training for trainers. Also, this was completely conducted online for students from Uzbekistan at the Tashkent Institute in Uzbekistan. Of course, there are some challenges with online education. However, I think that online education is not a fallback option, but rather it's a gateway, because there are so many cases when students can't travel because of different circumstances. And with this online education, we can share, we can educate, but with this, we can also invite guest speakers from across the world, and we can continue our teaching collaborations. Here, what I always pay attention when I have some online classes, online seminars, is to make them interactive, using case studies, real-time discussions, or some digital tools. Also, in all these examples, like seminars or guest lectures or training for trainers, I always had the international students, and for them to make it relevant and to make them more engaged in the class, I always try to link theory with their local context, or to show how they can apply this theory in their local context. And right now, since January, I joined Nazarbayev University as an assistant professor, where I teach class in person for graduate students in public policy and public administration. The course is on water resources policy and management. And from learning all from previous experiences, I try to give not only knowledge, but here I also would like to show my students different perspectives by connecting research, policy, and practice, by inviting different guest speakers from Kazakhstan in person, but also when we have online our my international collaborators. So, for example, this spring semester, we have 14 weeks, 15 weeks actually, and in 7 of these weeks, we had some guest speakers. I found them also very useful. I remember in one of them, I guess in the keynote speech, co-teaching was also mentioned, and this was all I found very insightful when our guest speakers share their opinion. I ask questions. So this connecting research, policy, and practice, at least in my course, it was more emphasis on bridging research, policy, and practice. However, what I also changed in my teaching is to change my assessment strategies in response to AI developments. So, for example, now I prefer, or all my assessments are in-class written exams or in-class written assignments, or more in-class discussions and one discussions or debates. But what I also experienced when I was during the exchange semester, I played simulation game, and I really wanted to bring simulation game or create simulation game for my students too, since this exercise helped them to play different roles, like riparian countries negotiating over different water challenges, so that they can mirror real-world transboundary dynamics. And this, I didn't expect that students will enjoy so much, but they will really play their roles, whether this is the Ministry of Water Resources, Environment, NGO, where they can not only apply, gain knowledge from the class, but also improve their soft skills, such as negotiations, critical thinking, active listening, finding consensus, and many more. So from this teaching experience in Kazakhstan, which I adapted a lot, adapted my teaching here. So the goal was not only to equip students with knowledge, but also with skills to navigate different complexities. And here in this almost final slides, I would like to share my thoughts on what is important for building international teaching partnerships. So in my experience, it's always about collaboration requires trust and mutual respect. So it begins with relationships, not just projects. When I have international collaborators, whether it's related with teaching or research, I always try to pay attention for the local context and align with their expectations or create value for both partners so that this partnership would be beneficial for both sides. In the case of teaching, what I found that teaching rooted in research builds credibility and also curiosity from students to continue the research or to continue their education in this field. And I also found that digital platforms helps a lot or for communication or to continue partnerships, whether it's research or teaching. Now you can easily continue your working with your collaborators, even not meeting with them, or probably meeting with them only once per year, but it's still possible to have sustainable or long-term partnerships. And here I mentioned this statement that long-term partnerships for me is more about the common good and a better world. And I even found this statement or even revise it that like rivers, partnerships are built slowly and intentionally through shared flow. And as water doesn't stop at borders, neither should our teaching and collaboration. That's all from my side. This is very quickly what I wanted to share from my experience, from mobility, from collaborations, but also adapting teaching in the age of AI.